All right, managerial accounting, week 3, MBA 515, week 3, the exercise, problem, or the case, depending on how it's laid out for you. But anyway, this is the exercise or the case. All right, so this is about a 20-minute video. It is kind of edited, so you may notice little parts where it kind of cuts and everything because I go from one section to the next section to kind of save on the time aspect. Uh, but anyway, so everything in the exercise is all the information is here. Okay, it's just knowing how to come up with the information. So as we go through this, I'm going to show you how to get those numbers in this particular case. Um, so this is a long version of actually going through the actual homework assignment, but uh, usually it's the same format for doing these type of exercise and problems. You're giving a written um, assignment, so to speak, be it here and here, or be it here, or be it in a Word document. And as this relates to a business, it can be, this particular business is like European styles. They make blouses, but this could be pizza. It could be, a flower company. It could be anything. And that's why you need to have an understanding of it. You may not be an expert at it, but you need to have an understanding on, how different lot numbers or different groups of work assignments work and so forth. All right, so next part here is getting into it. All right, so for week 3 homework on MBA 515, managerial accounting, we got exercise or case 1049 here. Everything you need for the worksheet is right here in the case. All the data is there. All right, so it's just a matter of understanding how to get that data. And so over here, I've already filled it out, but the first part here, uh, European styles, standard cost of production. So we got lots 22, 3, and 4. Right here, we got the information, the number of boxes for each lot. So we plug in the number of boxes. The standard cost per box over here. Okay, we already know that the standard cost is $1.10 per yard. Right down here tells us the direct material that was purchased. Here number 1 there to tell you they bought 95,000, and this is the cost of how much is in like a box or per yard. All right, so all we're doing here is taking that $1.10 and multiplying it by the number of boxes. For example, here on the whoops, there's my calculator here. I cleared it out. So this one 90.45, $90.40 or 48, right? And we're going to multiply that by the 1,200 boxes, and that gives us the 108,575, the 108,575, and then we just total those. Whoops, we just total those 3 columns up. All right, and then down here, actual cost of material purchased. It already told us that right here. It costs 106,400. All right. The standard cost of the material, we already know it's $1.10. All right, per cost. So all we're doing there is just uh, multiplying that times the 95,000. All right. So if we do the calculator again real quick, cleared it out. We got the 95,000, and we're going to multiply it by the $1.10. All right. And that gives us the 104,500, 104,500. And then the difference between the two, the variance, okay? So variance is just the difference between what you spent, what you were supposed to spend, okay? Like when you're looking at a budget. So in this case, it's 1,900. And that's a positive number when we're talking about budgets and things like that, or actual expenses. So that means that we overspent 1,900. So that's not good. That's unfavorable. All right. Got lot 22, 3, and 4, 22, 3, and 4, and number of boxes that you have, uh, number of boxes. So we can do it this way. We can just, um, do it that way and that way. And then, of course, you would add them up. Nope, I don't mean that. That's the wrong one. But anyway, those are the right boxes. Standard yards per box. Okay, so you have, as I say, you have to read this. Down here, you got your direct material, which is 24 yards at $1 per yard. All right, so that's your yards per box. All right, 24 and 24. All right, and then you can, of course, we total them up over here. So okay, now I plug these numbers in already, but so the standard quantity again, multiply, and then actual used is right here. It's provided for you up here, all right, of the actual material used. So when you add add each row up, and that's how you get that part. Okay, and then you have a variance, all right, which is just the difference between the two. Okay, and so here we subtract, come up with like 100, or the difference, like negative 360, 25, negative 225. The standard price is given to us over here. Again, the material is at 24 yards a box. It's $1.10 a yard. So that's where that 110 comes from. All right. Okay, and then this next part here, so we already got the standard price, direct material quantity variance. All right, so all you're going to do there is multiply variance in yards by the standard price to give you this. So if we use the calculator, clear it off, do the 1.1, okay, because the price is 1.1, multiply it by the 100, and that will equal us our 110. So here over in the next column, okay, we got the we can do you can do whichever way you prefer on the math, but I just do it this way: 1.1 times negative 360 will give us 358.9. So we just make it out to 360. All right. Okay, and so that's how you do that. And then down here, you just plug in if is this a favorable number or unfavorable. And again, if you plug the wrong number in, right, it'll give you your little asterisk. Okay. All right, so this here, we fill the rest of this in here, jump down here, we're going to do direct labor variance. Standard hours is the same as up at the top, okay, or right here, we got the 1,000, 17, 1,200 going across, all right, and then we're going to have the, all right, and then standard hours per box, okay, they give us that right here, it's 3, all right, so you got the 3, all right, and then that of course is you get your 3,000. Okay, I paused a second, I went back here and I fixed this. I remember we had the wrong number, and because I wasn't using the negative, so we ended up with a negative. So that's how that got fixed. So you're going to multiply the 1.1 times a negative 360, and that'll give you the negative 396. All right, and so back down here, so this is similar to the other section. You're gonna get your boxes. You're gonna have your hours right here. Direct labor, 3 hours. All right, and then because we know that it was 100% completed, okay, the work, that's why we do that number there. Because whoops, hold on, or maybe not. No, maybe not. So what this number is, it tells us right here that materials used for lot 24 was 80% completed. All right, so the other two are 100%, but this one, we know it's 80% completed. All right. And then for our standard hours here, total standard hours, same as we did further up here, you just do the multiply. All right. Oops. All right. And then same over here. And I'm because it's not a round number, so and then we're gonna do that times. All right. Now I only know that this is 2A because I do this a lot, but you know, you can also, there's a couple different ways to do that calculation there. All right. You can do the 3600. You can do times 0.80. All right. So, you know, that's just one of those little formula things you have to remember about doing that decimal. So, all right. And then we'll total it up, and then put the actual hours down here for, like right 2980 gives us the numbers right there. Okay. All right, and then 2890. Okay, and then we will total all that. Okay, we got that total, and then over here you got variance and hours, so that's subtracting these two. Okay, and that gives you 20 there. Whoops. 200. Whoops. Well, that's negative 20 hours. All right, and then the standard rate, we've got it over here. For the labor is 1470. Your direct, 1470 per hour. So we put that in there. Okay. And then your direct labor variance. And then here, to get your efficiency variance, you're going to do the 1470 times the negative 20. All right. So you do the 1470 times 20 equals 294, but we know that's a negative, so we just, we'll put it in there as a negative 294. Okay, and then favorable or unfavorable. All right. All right, so I added the rest of those in there, and then we jump down to the next part here, direct labor rate variance, actual hours. Okay, we get that from over here again. So I already plugged those in and totaled it. Okay, the rate paid in excess of the standard variance. All right, so over here we have the regular rate, that 1470, right? Up here it tells us that employees are paid 15 an hour. All right, so that's a 30 cents difference, right? So that's the difference. That's, that's the variance. So we put that 0.30 in there to make up that variance, okay? And all right, so that number's the same all the way across, okay? Okay, and so the way you're gonna get this number is just, multiply 2980 times 0.3. All righty, and 0.30 equals 894. Put 894 in there, and as you see, our little asterisk is gone, and then it's an unfavorable number. Now the other thing I didn't mention yet, but okay, why is it favorable or unfavorable? Okay, a negative number here means they spent less. They still made the production, but it cost less. If this is like over budget, the negative's under budget. That's why when the numbers are, the variance is high, it's unfavorable. So again, any business, I'll use food as an example, like a pizza store. If somebody who makes pizza really loves cheese and they throw extra cheese on the pizza, well, at the end of the day, they've spent more money on cheese than they're supposed to spend. So uh, they would be over, this could be cheese we're talking about here. So they'd be over $400 instead of under a couple hundred. So that's kind of the difference on that there. All right, so we got that filled in. So now we're going down here to the journal. All right. So again, everything is over here. It just takes understanding how to, how to decipher it. But anyway, so this is about the raw material inventory. Okay, and so where we get this information is up at the top. When earlier we were up. Whoops, let me get back up there. Okay, remember we had these numbers here. All right. And so what we're going to do, we come back down here. Oops. And let me show you this cheat sheet here just so it may make a little more sense to you, okay? Um, so the raw inventory material, that's 104,500. And we get that right here, up in part 2. Standard cost of material purchased was 104,500, okay? And then down here again, so we want the direct price cost, okay? And that was the 106, oops, the 106,400, the actual cost. All right. And so that's, and again, see, that's where we get those numbers from. All right. Oops. So let me plug that in real quick. And then the variance. And that variance is the difference. Oops. Is that difference here between those two. All right. So that's where that 1900 came from. It also tells you right up here at the top of the actual exercise, but that's the way we get it for there. All right. And then all right, so um, this next part here, the work in progress inventory. So where do we get that number from? Remember up in the further up here where we got into the materials, where did it go? Okay, the actual material 106,400. Whoops, wrong sheet. We go back down here. So we're looking for this 10, how do we come up with that 102,960? Okay, so I'll show you here on the on this sheet here. All right, 9360. Where do we come up with that to do this little formula to come up with that 10260? Okay, this 93.6 and also this 258. Okay, so both of those are up here, okay, in this other section here that has to do with direct material. All right, so remember when we totaled everything up? All right, total quantity 93.6, and then down here on the variance, the negative 258. So that's where we get those numbers to plug in here, okay? And then we just go ahead and we subtract and we come up with that 102 there. All right. Okay, so this next part here, I already filled the numbers in. All right. So we're talking about the work in progress inventory, the variance, the material inventory. So where do we get that? All right. So earlier, up here earlier in the labor part, where did we go here? Whoops, did I go too far? 10.9. Okay, right here. This line here, standard hours. All right, there was a total of 10,980. Okay, and then we also had the variance in the labor of 3,300. Now I know, how do you know to get this? This is how it's done. So you actually go into the textbook and presentations and actually see this format. But this is where you get the numbers from. All right, because we're talking about the labor and the variance. All right, so we got that, and so that's how we come up with this number. And so to come up with that number, oops. All right, we're going to do that 1098 that I showed you. Okay, that 980. And over here we got the, and we're talking about the labor. So, and the labor part is that 1470. All right. And because again, we're talking about the, the labor variances here. So it's times the 1470. Okay, and that gives us the 161,406. Okay, the 161,406 down here. All right. Okay, and then we already know the 3,300 and the 294 from back up here. Okay, there's the 294. Again, it's talking about labor. And then the 3,300. Whoops, where did it go? Just had it. Oh, right there. Again, the labor variance. So that's where we got those two numbers. And then we add all three of these up. All right. So you got the 161, 161,406 plus the 3,300 and then the 294 and that equal, whoops, I messed that up. So anyway, we add them 161, whoops, 406 plus 3300 plus 294 equals 165. 165 right there. So that's how you get that. All right, so I know this was not easy, and I understand it's understandable because this is something working on managerial accounting is something that has to be something you do regular. All right, you can't just and so it's understood that you may not be able to get all of this the first time around. So, but anyway, so this is it. And as always, you can get in touch with me if you got questions.